Good morning. If you're anywhere in Europe right now, you've probably noticed the world outside your window has changed overnight. Across Europe, people are waking up to a sudden, biting cold that seems to have arrived out of nowhere. Streets that were bustling with autumn energy just yesterday are now filled with bundled-up commuters, their breath hanging in the icy air. Just days ago, it felt like autumn was lingering, with golden leaves and crisp, cool breezes. But now, winter has arrived with a vengeance, transforming parks and cityscapes into frosty wonderlands almost overnight. From London to Berlin, Paris to Prague, temperatures have plunged dramatically. This isn't your average November chill. The mercury has dropped by more than 10 degrees in some places, catching many off guard and forcing a quick wardrobe change. The real story is the speed of this transformation. One day you're heading out in a light jacket, and the next, you're scraping ice off your windshield and digging out your thickest coat. Even seasoned locals are surprised by how quickly the cold has set in. This abrupt shift signals that something major is happening in our atmosphere, a powerful force that can change the weather in a matter of hours. The culprit. Far to the north, in the Arctic, a massive weather system called the Polar Vortex is on the move. This swirling mass of frigid air usually stays locked above the pole, but sometimes it escapes. When the polar vortex is stable, it acts like a barrier, keeping the coldest air trapped far from Europe and the rest of the world. But when it's disturbed, as it is now, it can unleash a torrent of Arctic air, sending icy winds sweeping across the continent and plunging millions into winter almost instantly. Over the next few scenes, we'll break down what the polar vortex is, why it's acting up this year, and what it could mean for your winter, whether you're hoping for snow or dreading the freeze. We'll explore the powerful forces at play, from the vast Pacific Ocean currents to the mysterious dynamics of the stratosphere, and how they all connect to shape the weather you experience every day. So, bundle up and get ready. Let's dive into the atmospheric drama unfolding above us, and discover what's really behind Europe's abrupt plunge into winter. So, what exactly is the polar vortex, and why does it matter so much for our weather? Imagine a swirling mass of intensely cold air spinning high above the North Pole. This isn't just a passing weather system, it's a permanent, powerful crown of cold that sits atop our planet, shaping the climate far beyond the Arctic Circle. The polar vortex is at its strongest during the winter months, fueled by the dramatic temperature difference between the frozen Arctic and the much milder regions to the south. This contrast creates a powerful engine that keeps the vortex spinning. The vortex itself sits high in the stratosphere, encircled by a fast-moving river of air called the jet stream. Think of the jet stream as a protective fence, wrapping around the polar vortex and keeping the coldest air locked in place. When the vortex is strong and stable, this jet stream barrier holds firm. As a result, much of Europe experiences milder, wetter winters, with the Arctic chill kept at bay. But if the vortex weakens or becomes unstable, the jet stream can buckle and dip. This allows frigid Arctic air to spill southward, breaking through the usual boundaries. That's exactly what's happening now. The polar vortex is unstable, and the jet stream is wavering, creating unpredictable weather patterns across the northern hemisphere. These dramatic atmospheric shifts can send deep troughs of icy air plunging into Europe, transforming mild winter days into sudden cold snaps. The result? Sudden, severe cold spells that catch millions off guard, disrupting daily life and challenging infrastructure. The polar vortex is the hidden force shaping our winter weather, often without us even realizing it. And right now, that force is more unpredictable and more influential than ever before. The polar vortex isn't where it should be. It's been shoved off the North Pole and now sits over Siberia. Imagine spinning a top and giving it a hard nudge. It wobbles and moves off course. That's what's happening in the stratosphere. This shift has opened an atmospheric superhighway, sending cold Siberian air racing into Europe. The result? A rapid, dramatic drop in temperatures across the continent. But what could push such a massive system off its perch? The answer lies in powerful weather systems in the lower atmosphere. Huge, high-pressure areas that punch energy upward. These disturbances send waves into the stratosphere, disrupting the vortex's spin. The energy transfer weakens the vortex, allowing it to be displaced. That's why Europe is shivering under a sudden Arctic blast. Those powerful waves are called Rossby waves, giant, slow-moving ripples in the jet stream, shaped by Earth's rotation. They move high and low-pressure systems around the globe, driving our daily weather. Recently, strong Rossby waves have surged from the Pacific, triggered by massive high-pressure systems. These waves travel upward, bombarding the polar vortex and disrupting its flow. Each poke from a Rossby wave weakens the vortex, making it unstable. This relentless push from the Pacific is what shoved the vortex towards Siberia. So, the cold air chilling Europe began its journey with weather patterns thousands of miles away. It's a striking example of how interconnected our climate system is. Rossby waves are the hidden hand behind this winter's drama, and they've set the stage for an even bigger atmospheric event. Now, meteorologists are watching for a sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, a dramatic event where stratospheric temperatures over the pole can soar by 50 degrees Celsius in days. This warming is triggered by those same Rossby waves, which dump energy into the stratosphere. The catch? While the stratosphere heats up, the surface gets colder. SSWs disrupt the polar vortex, causing its winds to slow, stop, or even reverse. The vortex can split into smaller pieces, sending pockets of Arctic air south. For Europe, this means the cold could intensify and persist. An SSW is the final blow, shattering the weakened vortex and unleashing severe winter weather. The result? A topsy-turvy world where warmth above means deep freeze below. Europe's winter is about to get even more interesting. The next few weeks could be the coldest yet. How does all this translate to your frosty mornings? Why do you wake up to a world blanketed in white, with icy winds biting at your face, and the air so cold it stings your lungs? The answer lies in a complex dance of atmospheric forces, unfolding far above your head and thousands of kilometers away. With the polar vortex spinning over Siberia, powerful winds begin to funnel frigid air straight from the Arctic into the heart of Europe. This is what meteorologists call the beast from the east. A surge of cold that sweeps across the continent, transforming mild winters into something far more severe. The coming sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, will only amplify this effect. It strengthens high-pressure systems over Scandinavia, creating atmospheric blocks that trap the cold air and prevent it from escaping. Normally, the jet stream acts like a conveyor belt, bringing milder Atlantic air into Europe. But now, it's buckled and twisted, allowing Arctic air to spill southward and dominate the weather. These blocking highs over Scandinavia or Greenland act as invisible walls in the sky, holding the cold in place and stopping warmer air from breaking through. The result is a deep freeze that lingers. This pattern isn't just a brief cold snap. It can persist for weeks, as the cold air is constantly replenished by new surges from the north and east, keeping temperatures low and snow falling. The outcome? Persistent cold, frequent snowfalls, and little relief from the Atlantic's usual warmth. Towns and cities become locked in a wintry grip, with snow piling up on rooftops and cars. It all starts with a chain reaction. Rossby waves undulate through the atmosphere, pushing and pulling the polar vortex out of its usual position. The displaced vortex opens the door, allowing Arctic air to surge into Europe, changing the weather in a matter of days. Then, the SSW event acts like a lock, sealing the cold in place and making it even harder for warmth to return. Europe finds itself in the grip of a planetary-scale cold spell, with cities and countryside alike buried under snow and ice. The chill you feel each morning is the final act of a battle fought high above, where winds and temperatures clash on a global scale. For now, the forces of cold are winning, and Europe remains locked in winter's icy embrace, waiting for the next shift in the atmosphere to bring relief. So, what's next? The current cold spell isn't going anywhere soon. With the vortex over Siberia, Europe faces weeks of below-average temperatures. The looming SSW could trigger a second, even harsher wave of cold as we head into December. There's a lag between the SSW in the stratosphere and its effects at the surface, so the worst may be yet to come. If the vortex splits, a daughter vortex could settle over northern Europe, bringing even deeper cold and heavy snow. The exact impact depends on how the vortex breaks and where high-pressure blocks form. The message: stay vigilant, prepare for a long winter, and keep an eye on forecasts. The second act of this atmospheric drama could be even more intense. The effects of a major SSW can last for months, resetting Europe's winter pattern. Persistent high-pressure blocks could mean repeated cold outbreaks through January and February. This isn't just a cold snap, it could be a cold, snowy winter for much of Europe. The impacts are wide-ranging: higher energy demand, travel disruptions, and challenges for agriculture. Ironically, a warming Arctic may make these events more common, as weaker jet streams allow more frequent vortex disruptions. So, a warming planet can sometimes mean colder winters in Europe. Understanding these links is crucial for forecasting and resilience. This winter's chill is both a weather and a climate story. Europe's sudden freeze is no accident. It's the result of a dramatic chain of atmospheric events. The polar vortex, pushed by Pacific-borne Rossby waves, was displaced to Siberia, opening the door for Arctic air. Now, a sudden stratospheric warming threatens to shatter the vortex and unleash even more severe cold. The breakdown of the vortex means the cold will likely stick around. The lesson: stay informed, take precautions, and be ready for more winter extremes. This is nature's power on full display. A planetary battle shaping our daily lives. As you bundle up, remember, the real story is unfolding high above in the swirling drama of the polar vortex. Stay warm and keep watching the skies.